From beyond the veil of the Force, infinite paths stretch before us. Choices made and unmade, destinies fulfilled and averted. Today, we explore one such path. What if Mace Windu had somehow survived? What would he have done? Do you think he would have hunted down Darth Vader after learning his true identity? In this timeline, a single split-second decision made by a medic with an oath to help those in need, a warrior's resolution, reshapes not just one destiny, but the fate of the entire galaxy. The purple blade extinguishes mid-fall. Master Mace Windu, champion of the Jedi Order, plummets through the Coruscant sky like a comet stripped of its fire. Lightning has seared his flesh. Betrayal has shattered his spirit. Below him, 1,000 levels of civilization blur into streaks of neon and darkness. This is not how legends are supposed to end. But Mace Windu does not die that day. His body crashes through a decrepit landing platform in level 1313, the underworld that exists beneath the gleaming facade of the Republic's capital. Scavengers find him hours later, his robes charred, his right arm severed cleanly at the elbow, a phantom pain that will haunt him for years. Most would have left him for dead, but even in Coruscant's depths, the sight of a Jedi still means something. Fear, perhaps, or opportunity. A Twi'lek medic named Zara pulls him from the rubble, recognizing the burned remnants of his traditional Jedi tunic. She doesn't call the authorities. In these lawless levels, trust in the Republic died long before its Senate did. For 3 weeks, Windu drifts between consciousness and oblivion. In his fever dreams, he sees the Chancellor's office. He sees Anakin Skywalker standing in the doorway, conflict written across his face. He sees the choice that the young Jedi made, the ignition of that blue blade, the sudden arc of lightning that sent him spiraling into the abyss. And in those dreams, he screams, not from physical pain, but from the weight of understanding. The Chosen One chose darkness. And Mace Windu, who had sensed that darkness for years, who had warned the Council repeatedly, had been proven catastrophically right. When he finally awakens, the galaxy has transformed into something unrecognizable. Zara brings him scraps of news from the holonet. The Republic is no more. Chancellor Palpatine, who Windu now knows was Darth Sidious all along, has declared himself Emperor. The Jedi are branded traitors, hunted across every star system. And Anakin Skywalker, the man Windu had rushed to confront the Chancellor to save, is reported dead, killed in the assault on the Jedi Temple. Mace should feel relief. He should feel vindicated. Instead, he feels hollow. The Jedi Order, an institution that had stood for 25,000 years, has been obliterated in a single night. And he, one of its greatest champions, survived by accident, by falling through the darkness instead of fighting to the end. The Force feels different now. Where it once flowed through him like a river of light, now it comes in cold, sharp fragments. His connection remains, but it's jagged, angry, stained by the fury that consumes him. He's lost his saber, lost his hand, lost everything that defined him. What remains is a question that burns hotter than any Sith lightning. How did we fail so completely? Enjoying our alternative Star Wars universe? Consider liking and hitting the hype button to show us your support. Don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending tales from the Star Wars universe. Months pass in the underworld. Windu moves through the lower levels like a ghost, disguised beneath worn cloaks and stolen garments. He's no longer the composed master who walks the temple halls. His face is gaunt, scarred by electrical burns that branch across his skin like dark rivers. His left eye doesn't focus quite right anymore, and where his right hand once gripped his legendary purple blade, there's only empty air and the constant ache of phantom sensation. He's learned to compensate, relying entirely on his left hand for everything. Eating, fighting, surviving. The adjustment has been brutal. But Mace Windu has never been one to surrender to circumstance. He encounters a clone deserter in a cantina near level 1280. The man, who removes his helmet with trembling hands, calls himself Kix. He speaks of something called Order 66, a biochip implanted in every clone soldier, a directive that turned brothers into executioners at the flick of a switch. Kix describes how his entire battalion turned on General Tiplar mid-battle, gunning her down without hesitation, without remorse. The clone weeps as he speaks, and Mace understands. The clones weren't betrayers. They were victims too. Their free will stripped away by a Sith conspiracy so vast and patient that even the Jedi Council's combined wisdom couldn't perceive it. There's something else, Kix says, his voice barely above a whisper. The Empire has hunters now. Jedi hunters. They call them Inquisitors. Former Jedi twisted by the dark side, hunting their own brothers and sisters for sport. Mace's remaining hand clenches into a fist. Who commands them? A Sith Lord, Kix replies. They call him Lord Vader. He leads the 501st Legion personally, the same battalion that marched on the temple. The 501st, Anakin's battalion. The soldiers who followed him through the Clone Wars, who trusted him, who would have followed him anywhere. The pieces fall into place with horrifying clarity. Mace's breath catches in his chest. Describe him, Mace demands, his voice sharp. Black armor, head to toe. Wears a mask with a breathing apparatus. Tall, maybe 2 meters. Fights with a red lightsaber and kills Jedi like it's nothing. They say he used to be a Jedi himself before the dark side took him. The realization hits Mace like a physical blow. Anakin Skywalker isn't dead. He's worse than dead. He's become exactly what Mace feared. Exactly what the Council should have prevented. The boy with too much fear, too much anger, too much attachment has transformed into an engine of destruction wrapped in black armor and sustained by hate. The 501st Legion, Anakin's men, now serve Lord Vader. Because Lord Vader is Anakin. In that moment, sitting in a dim cantina surrounded by criminals and exiles, Mace Windu makes a choice. He will not seek out other surviving Jedi. He will not attempt to rebuild the Order. Those are actions of the past, the failures of a system that bred its own destruction. No, Mace Windu will become something else, something the galaxy needs more than noble peacekeepers. He will become vengeance itself. Over the following months, Windu crafts a new weapon. He cannot simply build a lightsaber as he once did. The kyber crystal caves are beyond his reach, guarded by an empire that would kill him on sight. Instead, he takes a darker path. He hunts Inquisitors, these fallen Jedi who have betrayed everything they once stood for. He strikes from the shadows, using the Force to cloud minds and strike with precision born of necessity. Fighting one-handed has forced him to refine his technique, making every movement count, channeling even more fury through his Form 7 mastery. And from the bodies of his enemies, he harvests what he needs. The crystal he finally claims comes from the 5th brother, an Inquisitor he corners in a warehouse on Braca. Their duel is brief and brutal. The Inquisitor fights with the wild aggression of the dark side, spinning his double-bladed weapon in flashy arcs. But Mace fights with something more terrifying. Focused rage channeled through decades of mastery, his left hand gripping his salvaged hilt with absolute precision. When the 5th brother falls, Windu takes his crimson crystal and does something extraordinary. He meditates with it for 7 days, pouring his will into its structure, purging the dark side corruption and imprinting it with his own essence. When he ignites his new blade, it burns purple once more. But this isn't the pure amethyst glow of his old weapon. This is darker, deeper, a violet that seems to drink in the light around it. Some Jedi would call it tainted. Mace calls it honest. He's no longer the man who walked the temple halls. He is the purple shadow, the ghost that hunts the Emperor's hunters. Across Imperial space, reports begin to surface. Inquisitors go missing. Shipments of kyber crystals bound for the Death Star project never arrive at their destinations. Garrison commanders find their facilities sabotaged, their troops slaughtered, and always, scorched into walls or blast doors, the marks of a purple lightsaber. The Empire tries to suppress these stories, but fear spreads faster than propaganda. Something is hunting them. On Mustafar, in the fortress he's claimed as his own personal hell, Darth Vader meditates in a chamber of pain. The dark side flows through him, sustained by anger and loss. He sees visions of the past, the Jedi Temple burning, Padme's face as life left her eyes, his own body broken and burning on black sand. These visions fuel him, keep him sharp, keep him strong. But tonight, something different intrudes on his meditation. A disturbance in the Force, familiar and impossible. A presence he felt die, a presence that should not exist. The signature is unmistakable. Controlled fury, unwavering justice. The purple flame of Mace Windu. Vader's mechanical breathing fills the chamber, steady and cold. He opens his eyes behind his mask and speaks to the darkness.
So, you survived, old man. Good. When I kill you myself, there will be no accident, no mercy, only the end you always deserved.
The hunt begins in earnest. Two scarred warriors, each convinced of their righteousness, each consumed by the past, began circling one another across the galaxy. Vader tracks the purple shadow's movements, finding patterns in the chaos. Windu, in turn, seeks out everything he can learn about Lord Vader, gradually confirming the horrifying truth of what Anakin Skywalker has become. Their paths nearly cross on Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon, several years into Windu's campaign. The Empire has set a trap, baiting Windu with rumors of a kyber shipment. Instead, he finds Inquisitors waiting. The third sister, a young woman named Reva whose eyes burn with zealous fury, attacks alongside the Grand Inquisitor. Their red blades fill the warehouse with crimson light as they press their advantage. But Mace Windu is not some frightened survivor hiding in the shadows. He is a master of Form 7, Vapad, a lightsaber technique that channels darkness into devastating power. Even with only his left hand gripping the blade, he's adapted his style into something more lethal than before. Tighter, more economical, every strike carrying the weight of compressed fury. Every ounce of rage, every fragment of grief, he funnels into his combat, becoming a purple whirlwind of controlled violence. The Grand Inquisitor falls first, bisected by a strike too fast to track. The third sister, Reva, finds herself disarmed and on her knees, Windu's blade at her throat. "Do it," she hisses, her voice breaking. "Finish it." Mace looks into her eyes and sees something that gives him pause. She's young, barely older than a Padawan, and in her presence, he senses echoes of Order 66, the trauma of surviving when so many others fell. She's not hunting Jedi out of conviction. She's hunting them because it's the only way she knows to survive her own guilt and pain. He deactivates his lightsaber. "You don't have to do this," he says quietly. "Whatever they've made you, it's not too late to choose differently." The gesture costs him. Reva doesn't strike, but she doesn't thank him either. She flees into the night, confused and conflicted. But seeds have been planted. Through channels Windu doesn't fully understand, Reva begins feeding him information over the following months. Locations, shipment routes, and eventually, the one thing he sought above all else. The location of Darth Vader's fortress, Mustafar. The world where Anakin Skywalker burned and died. The world where Darth Vader was born. Mace knows it's a trap. Vader has sensed him in the Force, just as Mace has sensed Vader. Their presences are locked in a gravitational pull. Two celestial bodies orbiting toward inevitable collision. But Windu doesn't care. This is why he survived. This is the purpose that's kept him alive through years of hunting and hiding. He will face his failure, face the man he couldn't save, and perhaps in that confrontation find either redemption or death. Either would be acceptable. He infiltrates the fortress with methodical precision, using every technique the Jedi taught him and several they never would have approved. He slips past patrols using force clouding techniques that border on dark side manipulation, suppressing his presence in the Force to barely a whisper. He moves through the volcanic citadel like smoke, his left hand ready on his lightsaber hilt. Finally, in a chamber overlooking rivers of molten rock, he finds his prey. Darth Vader stands with his back turned, his cape rippling in the heated air rising from below. He doesn't move as Windu approaches. He doesn't need to. He's been waiting.
"You've come a long way to die, Master Windu,"
Vader says, his voice a mechanized rumble that carries none of Anakin's warmth. "I came to finish what I should have ended years ago," Mace replies, his left hand drawing and igniting his purple blade in one fluid motion. Vader turns, and for the first time, Windu sees what his former student has become. The armor, the mask, the breathing apparatus that keeps him alive. This isn't Anakin Skywalker. This is something else entirely. A man so consumed by the dark side that he's more machine than living being.
The Jedi destroyed themselves,
Vader says, igniting his crimson blade.
Their arrogance, their blindness. You taught me that, Master. You showed me how the righteous become the fallen.
I never taught you to slaughter innocents. Mace roars, and they clash. The duel that follows is savage. These aren't the elegant forms taught in the Jedi Temple. This is violence distilled to its purest essence. Vader fights with overwhelming power, both hands gripping his blade, each strike designed to obliterate rather than disarm. Mace fights with precision and fury, his left arm bearing the entire weight of combat, channeling his rage through Vapad, using Vader's own darkness against him. The loss of his right arm has made him vulnerable to Vader's two-handed power strikes, forcing him to rely on footwork and force-enhanced speed to avoid direct blade locks he cannot win. The battle across platforms suspended over molten rock, their blades throwing shadows across ancient Sith architecture. Mace is faster, more agile, his one-armed style unpredictable and deadly. Vader is stronger, relentless, using his superior leverage to drive Mace back step by step. For every precise strike Windu lands, Vader absorbs the punishment and returns it threefold.
You failed me!
Vader snarls.
The Council failed me! You sensed my power and feared it instead of guiding it!
We tried to teach you control! Mace counters, spinning away from a strike that would have taken his head, his single-handed grip straining against Vader's strength. But you refused to listen. You chose attachment over duty, emotion over discipline.
And where did your discipline lead? To extinction! The Jedi are dead, Master, and you're just a ghost who doesn't know when to lie down.
The words hit harder than any blow, because they're not entirely wrong. The Jedi did fall. They became so rigid, so detached, that they couldn't see the Sith Lord orchestrating their destruction from the Chancellor's office. They couldn't understand how a young man's love for his wife could be manipulated into galactic genocide. They feared Anakin's power instead of teaching him to master it. They sensed his darkness instead of showing him the balance. In that moment of realization, Windu's guard drops just enough. Vader's blade pierces his left shoulder, the shoulder of his only remaining arm, burning through flesh and bone. Mace stumbles backward, his vision blurring, purple blade wavering. He sees his chance to strike, to drive his blade through Vader's chest plate, to end this here and now. His body screams at him to finish it, but he can't. Looking at the masked figure before him, all he sees is the young man who once asked for his guidance, who looked to the Council for wisdom they couldn't provide. He sees the Jedi Order's greatest failure standing before him, and he understands that killing Vader won't bring redemption. It will only prove that the darkness has claimed them both.
Strike me down,
Vader commands, sensing Windu's hesitation.
Finish what you came to do, or prove you're still the same coward who let the Sith destroy everything.
Mace deactivates his lightsaber. No, he says quietly, blood seeping through his robes. I came here for vengeance, but vengeance won't bring back the Jedi. It won't undo what we both did. I failed you, Anakin. The Council failed you. We sensed your fear and met it with judgment instead of compassion. We saw your love as weakness instead of strength that needed guidance. And you let that failure transform you into this. For the briefest moment, something flickers in the force around Vader. Not light, not redemption, but recognition. A crack in the armor of hate. Then, it's gone, sealed away beneath layers of dark side fury.
Anakin Skywalker is dead,
Darth Vader says coldly.
You killed him when you refused to trust him, when you denied him the rank of master, when you treated him like a threat instead of a student.
You're right, Mace admits, backing toward the chamber's exit, using the Force to hold pressure on his wound. We did treat you like a threat, because we were afraid, and that fear blinded us to what you actually needed. I'm sorry, Anakin. I'm sorry we failed you. Vader's lightsaber trembles, his breathing growing louder, more agitated.
Your apology changes nothing.
No, Mace agrees. But maybe understanding why we failed will change something for whoever comes after us. The Force demands balance, not victory. Light and dark, compassion and justice, attachment and duty. The Jedi forgot that, and so did you. With that, Windu throws himself backward through the chamber opening, using the Force to cushion his fall into the volcanic landscape below. He hits the ground hard, pain exploding through his wounded shoulder, but he's alive. He staggers toward a nearby landing platform where he'd stashed a stolen Imperial shuttle, knowing Vader could pursue him at any moment. But Vader doesn't follow. He stands at the edge of the chamber, watching the purple shadow disappear into the smoke and ash of Mustafar, his mechanical breathing the only sound. For reasons he doesn't fully understand, he let his old master escape. Mace Windu flees into the galaxy, wounded in body and spirit, but no longer consumed by vengeance. He's learned what he should have understood years ago, that hunting Vader was never about justice. It was about avoiding the truth of his own failure, his own complicity in the Jedi's downfall. The purple blade extinguishes, the ghost disappears, and somewhere in the galaxy, Mace Windu begins the long journey toward understanding what the Force has always demanded. Not the triumph of light over dark, but the balance between them. Perhaps in time, he'll find a way to share that wisdom. Perhaps a new generation of Force users will learn the mistakes of both Jedi and Sith. But that is a story for another time. This is where legends are reborn. Not in triumph, but in truth. If you enjoyed this journey into an alternative Star Wars universe where destiny takes unexpected turns and balance means something entirely different, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We explore the infinite possibilities hidden within the galaxy far, far away, asking the questions that reshape everything you thought you knew. The Force has many paths. Come discover them with us.